and welcome back to the M2 Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anthony. My co-host right here is KyleHeath. This is the show where we cover this gaming week's related news, articles, all that information, all that cool stuff. We got a couple of articles. We're going to talk a little bit about Ryzen 7, a new chip coming out next week. We got an update from Bungie and their new, I guess, IP. Their, I think it's a live service extraction shooter is what like the genre is. It is Marathon, of course. Sony shut down a couple of studios. Then we got Arkane Studios president is all peeved off at Microsoft closing some studios. And there is a couple of veteran game developers that are starting to go smaller. So a little bit more like general gaming industry related news, and a couple little sprinkled in technology. It's been a while since we actually talked about AMD and Intel and that kind of stuff. But Kyle, before we get into it, dude, how you been? How's it going? What you been up to?
I've been chilling, bro. I've been chilling. Listen, finished Silent Hill 2 remake. Pretty good.
Very cool.
Pretty good. I enjoyed it. I didn't play the original. Like, I played a little bit of the original, but not the whole thing. So I can't really speak too much on the original. I've since seen a bunch of like retrospectives and people's videos and thoughts and opinions. And the general consensus is that like good game. They actually stuck pretty well to the source material and they did it justice. So and I would agree with that. I just think it's a solid remake. It's reminds me of the Resident Evil remakes that Capcom does. And now Konami's like, yeah, let's just remake the second one, but let's not go too crazy. They just definitely didn't, so that's always good. Yeah, really enjoyed that. I played some Call of Duty, Mike. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah,
Played a little.
You've been grinding along with our other mutual friend that's been trying to prestige and all this other stuff.
Play more than I am, but yeah. I played a little bit. Played with some friends. It's it's still same old COD to me, but it's spent some time with friends. That's kind of why I was playing really.
That's cool, man.
So definitely one of those games. If I get asked top one, I might. But yeah. Outside of that, just kind of like played some of that. Dead Island 2. Have not beat the game yet. However, I did make a few more hours progress. And I'm pretty close, I feel. So probably next session will be the last. But yeah, good to get some Game Pass game time in. Trying to think if I really played anything else. It was I played some Baldur's Gate 3. Forgot about that.
Oh, nice.
Played some of that too. That was fun. Kind of started the campaign in that. Excited to play more of that. It was so funny because like I was playing the game and like it was probably like 3 or 4 hour session and like I didn't realize it was that long until I like looked up at the clock later and I was like, oh wow, it just went by that quick. Been a while since I played some D&D, and so it's like just a nice visual D&D kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, very much.
Yeah, I remember you were very excited last time you were talking about it. I know so many people that have been asking me to get it, or like they just want to play it. Yeah. I unfortunately have never have, but I know it's an amazing game.
Yeah.
I'm not a big D&D guy. I know you are though, or at least you play it occasionally.
Yeah, I played. I think the last time I played was 2021. I think like actual D&D. I don't know. I had a lot.
Everybody was playing old games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
go back to roots.
Yeah, I mean, I had fun and I enjoyed it. Then so I've been kind of wanting to play ever since. Just never really had a group. Now it's like, all right, cool. I get to see like a visual kind of game version of it. So that.
Very cool.
Yeah, played some of that. Excited to get back into that. And I did. I think it's since we last recorded. I finished A Way Out with my friend. So it's like,
nice.
It's the last time I played that game was like a year ago. And so we finally finished that. It was pretty good. I will say the ending though pissed both of us off. And
oh no.
Quick like spoilers for anyone who hasn't played, just forewarning. This is gonna spoil the ending, but essentially like at the very end, you fight each other. It's kind of like a weird thing, like the whole time you're together in the game, but at the very end you end up facing off each other. And so my buddy just like creamed me in the fight, right? Like it almost wasn't even close. And and so like he does all that, but at the end, like at the very like last part, it literally just becomes a button mashing game, and it's just who can smash buttons the quickest, or like who can smash a button the quickest. And I ended up winning because I was smashing. I was on my keyboard, so I was just I was like just like double tapping, and so I ended up winning that and getting like my ending. And I like afterwards, like I felt so bad. I was like, because like he clearly beat me, and then just like this cheap little like gimmick, I ended up winning, and so I ended up getting my ending. It's really weird. But and I don't know, and maybe I haven't looked too much into it. Maybe because I was like losing in the fight, maybe I had an easier time in the button. I don't know how the mechanics work there, if it was even or not. But I don't know. Either way, I just thought it was kind of like a crap ending. I was like, come on. Like the story wise, it was cool and all, but like I was just like, I feel like there was a better way. I feel like it should have just been like at our fight. It should have just been there and he wins. But I don't know. It's kind of a weird way of doing it by them. But other than that, the game itself is still a lot of fun, I think, overall. So, I mean, we both enjoyed it, and it took us a good while to get back to it, but I'm glad we did, and I'm glad we finished it. So, yeah, dude, got a decent amount of gaming in this week, Mike. I can't lie.
Yeah, it sounds like it, man.
Just about
Sounds like you have.
Yeah. What about you, dude? I know you got Halo coming up, Halo 2. Man's going crazy.
Yeah, Halo tournament next week. That's taking up a lot of my time, just preparing for that. I didn't game much at all this week, but over the weekend, Saturday, I didn't game at all. I had other like personal stuff going on, other plans. Went to a wedding and stuff, so that was kind of like I was preoccupied with that. But Friday, like all night Friday till like 6 o'clock in the morning, I was playing Halo 2, original hardware, original TV, original everything, and that was a LAN where we had something like I think we had 12 to 14 people in the LAN, and we were like just cycling through players. We had a lot of good games. We were streaming it. I think Friday we streamed on my Twitch, and then Saturday and Sunday we streamed on like the org's Twitch, which is the real one's org that they've been playing Halo 2 forever. So yeah, that was really fun. It was a good time. I will say it was a pain to like organize everything because I had to get a lot of the tech like stuff organized and together. I had to get the tables. Like you don't really realize how much goes into a LAN until you try to run one.
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole thing was like, I'm only gonna take care of the tech. I'm not gonna organize where people are sleeping, where like the food's coming from, if anybody wants drinks, like anything like that. I was like, nah, no, just I'm gonna get the network switch, all the cables, all the hardware, the power strips. That's a huge thing I like kind of forgot about is you have all of these connections. It's like, oh crap, you need a power strip, and then it's like, oh crap, how much power can this house handle? And like, there's problems that we started encountering of it was an older house that we were using, and it had two-prong outlets,
Oh,
but
jeez.
we had three-prong, right? Because there's the
Yeah.
ground.
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, dude, what are we doing?" I was kind of nervous about it, but yeah, we got it working. It was a good time. Everybody enjoyed it. They want us to do another one. Like everybody there was saying, "Hey, let's get it running." Was it next February or something, early next year, because like the holidays are gonna be so busy,
Make it a
so
thing,
much
yeah.
stuff going on. Yeah, they're like, yeah, just I think it was the first East Coast LAN, like one from that community, that Halo 2 community, where it actually took place and people showed up and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So showing that we could get it organized and working was really nice. We also had a heck of a lot of help from the people that are organizing the Las Vegas Halo 2 LAN. Shout out to MVC. He sent like 10 Astro mix amps so that we could have proper comms and like all the cables for it. It's not easy to do because it's old hardware. Like a Toslink, the optical audio cable, doesn't exist on the old Xboxes. They only came out in, I think the Xbox 360 had them, possibly. I don't know. I can go grab mine. It's over there and check, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I just know it's been interesting. It's been an interesting time. I'm most looking forward to, here's the funny thing. It's like I'm really excited for the LAN and the tournament and all this kind of stuff that's going to be happening very soon. But I'm most excited to go continue playing Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and get on COD. I want to play 2v2 Blueprint so bad, dude. So bad. And I see everybody having fun. I mean, Optic Gaming is doing Optic the Race. I don't know if you've been looking at that on Twitch. I know you don't go on Twitch as
Still
much.
doing that?
They're still doing it. They're on day 6 today, and they're just for anybody that doesn't know, they're trying to reach max prestige, like max amount of times you get prestige. I think it's 6, possibly.
Yeah, something like that.
So they're grinding, and it's like 24/7 streams, and they're just cycling through content creators and pro players.
I remember,
really cool.
Yeah, they used to do that for all the CODs, right? I remember for Modern Warfare 3, I think it was in like high school. I can't remember what grade, but when they did it, when they did Model 3, I remember I was like the most jealous person ever, and I was just like, I wish I could just literally like wake up, not even go to school, just play COD and grind like these guys. I was like super jealous of it.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's
That's
like,
their job. That's like
yeah,
they're
literally.
making content now.
But it just seemed like, yeah, that like it was back when like the Optic House was the thing. That was peak Optic for me. That's when I was like, it was like huge, kind of like, oh, like everybody wanted to be them, just get a house, game, and all that. But
oh
yeah, just came down, dude.
It's pretty sick.
It is pretty sick, man.
All right, dude. How about we switch it up? We kind of ranted and yapped for the start of the 10 minutes, doing a little bit of an update. Let's get into what the heck's going on in AMD. I'm hoping this is going to be pretty good because a new chip's going to be arriving November 7th. This is about the time of year where AMD starts dropping their newest stuff. Yep. And I don't know much about this generation, and it kind of makes me sad that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can fill us in.
Yeah, I don't know much either. And like you were saying earlier, it's definitely been a while since we've covered anything Ryzen, Intel, any of the computer hardware stuff, really. So it's good kind of thing to dip back on.
Oh yeah.
But this is coming from The Verge. Tom Warren reporting. He says that AMD's Ryzen 7 9800X3D gaming CPU arrives on November 7th for $479. AMD's next gen 7800 X3D includes higher base clocks and second generation 3D V-Cache technology. After bizarrely teasing a 9000 series X3D announcement last week, AMD is making it official today with the Ryzen 7 9800 X3D. It'll be available on November 7th. Priced at $479, the 9800 X3D is a direct successor to the best gaming CPU on the market right now, the Ryzen 7 7800 X3D. There's a lot to be excited about with the next generation X3D chip too. AMD will be increasing the base clock speed of up to 4.7 gigahertz on the 9800X, and max boost it will be 5.2 gigahertz. Combined with an increase to a 120 watt TDP, this may well help improve productivity workloads, something the X3D chips have always fallen behind their non-X3D counterparts. A nice little chart, including the article, showing world's best gaming processor, generational game performance. And so it's kind of the 7800X compared to the 9800X across many different titles. You see quite an improvement. Hogwarts Legacy, Far Cry 6, Ashes of Singularity Escalation, like all these titles are like 122% increases. And,
that's cool, but like, what about Minecraft?
That's what I'm saying. Like Counter-Strike 2's on here. I'm surprised like Counter-Strike 2 is like kind of a less of a boost than other games, but
I think it's because it's so optimized already.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. True. Yeah. It's weird. This is almost like an Apple graphic. I think like in the group chat earlier, I was kind of
you were
Apple's dropping
explain that.
Apple drops these like stupidest infographics ever, where it'll be like, so if they're comparing like computer processors, like they have their M2 chips, now they're M3, M4. So like they're talking about their new M4 chips. Like one of the graphics I saw was World of Warcraft performance from an M2 to an M3 to an M4, and it says it's 2.2 times faster or something like that than an M4, and like 1.3 times faster than an M3. And it's like there's no like other gauge or anything. It's just faster. It's like, okay, I mean, I don't know how you measure it, but whatever. It's kind of like this. It's like you see like the 100%. It's 111% increase, 118. It's like, okay. So I guess just
what does that even mean?
Average performance. I don't know. And there's like no. I'm curious, at least in terms of kind of what that's measuring. But anyway, the 9800X3D is really focused on gaming though. AMD is calling it the world's best gaming processor and promising an 8% uplift in average FPS over the 7800X. Those gains are thanks to the Zen 5 architecture and the second generation of 3D V-Cache technology. AMD even claims that 9800X will be up to 20% better than the Intel's latest Core Ultra 9 285K in gaming. In a video announcement, AMD computing and graphics boss Jack Hunch reveals that in many games such as Far Cry 6 and Cyberpunk 2077, we are more than 40% faster. The 9800X3D is also the first X3D processor to be fully unlocked, allowing enthusiasts and gamers to unlock it and squeeze more performance out of their systems. AMD is launching the Ryzen 7 9800X3D on November 7th, priced at $479, Mike. Oh my gosh, dude. That's crazy, dude. 40%
I feel
faster.
like yeah,
Crazy.
that much speed and that price of just $479. I feel like there was a couple of ones. I think my processor was around that like 5 years ago. So to see that the price point is kind of the same, even though the rising of Ryzen, the rising of inflation has like gotten kind of out of control over the last like 3 years. So to see that the
Certainly.
price point is sort of the same, it makes you kind of wonder like, wait, did they overcharge before in the past, or is this just like the cost of them making new processors and it's kind of hopefully be fixed for a while
Maybe.
and we don't see substantial growth? It's always good to see that it's AMD is always going to be. I shouldn't say always. That's an extreme thing to say, right? Maybe it's usually the one that's more affordable, and you get a lot of benefits with dollar per performance when
No.
it comes to AMD in comparison to Intel. It just really depends on what you're using your hardware for. More options like this to see AMD making improvements to the overall like the chips themselves is good to see. Do you think it's worthwhile though? That's one of the things. It's like it's supposed to be now the world's best gaming processor,
Yep.
trademarked.
Trademark.
But you're gonna get at most a 26% increase on a game, Hogwarts Legacy or Far Cry 6 games that you mentioned previously. But how does it actually do with I was kind of memeing about Minecraft, but it's one of the most popular games right now. It always has been. So shouldn't you want to affect more gamers if it is the world's best gaming processor?
True.
Does
How
it
does
improve
how does it
most
improve
popular
it?
games?
What about Roblox, dude? How does it improve
Yeah,
Roblox?
Roblox. Like I know those are like kind of graphically inept kind of games, right?
Certainly,
They're
certainly.
simple, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you should kind of care about that. We should kind of want to see that,
Yeah.
just from a consumer standpoint.
I think for the most part too, it's like, I mean, that's certainly when you're benchmarking stuff. It's probably not the go-to is those games. I mean, I understand the point
Yeah,
that you're making, but also like you asked earlier, like did the CPUs be overpriced? And the answer is yes. I mean, I think especially with
yeah.
the introduction of AMD and AMD finally catching up, we really started to
Mhm.
see, okay, oh yeah, Intel's overcharging, so it's really not worth that much. So and then prices started to regulate. Now here we are.
Yeah, it's a. I think things are going to start balancing out within the next year or so.
Yeah,
Just the cost of everything. We'll see how it actually ends up. That's just my gut feeling. Hopefully, the max boost though of 5.2 gigahertz is kind of what Intel's been doing for a while now.
yeah,
Intel's been having those crazy high
like
max boost
years. Yeah,
speeds.
I remember like
Yeah, for
3 generations
years.
ago. I think there were CPUs able to
Yeah,
hit 5. So I mean,
yeah, there were, and everybody was freaking out. And now it's to the point where it's like, okay, it's great to have it go faster and faster and faster because at the end of the day, it's like time's kind of money. It like matters when it comes to rendering or like making the fastest thing, whatever type of workhorse you need. But at this point, I feel like if you buy outdated stuff from like 2 or 3 years ago that's on discount, you can pretty much play any game at 1080p above 60 frames now.
he's so
And you can probably
easily,
save
so
so
easily.
easily, right?
I mean,
And it's just a matter of what your budget is. And I feel like this might be, I think we might be reaching possibly a golden era of PC gaming. I think
yeah.
I want to believe that. So
Yeah. Especially from a 1080p, 1440p standpoint, it's kind of like
yeah,
we're just there.
yeah,
4K, we're starting to get there. I mean, eventually it's going to be
hmm
8K, and then let's do that. I mean, these new cards, like 40 series, even the 40 series is like they were talking about 8K gaming on it and all that. So yeah, I'm sure the next one will be even crazier. But yeah, dude,
yeah,
this is the thing. Kind of, you were saying it earlier, but the only reason to upgrade to this is if you were like 4 or 5 generations behind, and you need
yep,
an upgrade, and you're like, okay, I want the best, then you get this.
yeah. So you don't have to update for 4 or 5 more
Exactly. Yeah,
generations.
and then you're
Yeah,
good. Like my iPhone. I bought my iPhone 2 years ago. I still love it, and it's paid off.
it's gonna
Everything.
be it's yeah,
It's
it's gonna
gonna
be fine
last
for
me
a
at
while.
least another probably 3 or 4 years before I upgrade. It's like,
It really will.
so it's. I mean, it's one of those things. Like I don't know. For me, especially my attitude towards like tech and all that, and like PCs and whatnot. Like I think I have like a
Mhm.
3080 in mine. I still 1080p game, so there's no kind of justification for me going like get anything higher. I think eventually I will upgrade to 1440p, but I'm just like at least not definitely not this year. I don't know when, um but
I
yeah,
feel
dude,
that.
like I don't know, it's for something like this, so like a processor like this is just overkill for me because I'm not 4K gaming, so it's like really Like I don't. I kind of hit. Kind of. I think what I have is overkill for 1080, so it's kind of like there's
Yeah,
no
yours is
reason
pretty
to.
good.
There's no
Yeah.
reason to like go over, but I mean, I can see a market though where like I was saying, if you want the best of the best, like, and you're 5, 6, 7 generations behind, and your PC's about to die, then yeah, you probably get something like
Yeah.
this and you're pretty
Yeah,
happy.
it comes into like this point of right now in particular. Like I think most people are still maybe the furthest back generation they are for a graphics card is like the 1080 series,
Oh,
like the
easily, yeah.
10 series. I don't see anybody being back further than that. I mean, if you are, I mean, hey,
That's crazy,
not
far, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, I'm not going to get into that, but it's like even then you were okay with 1080p 60 frames per second, and there were Intel and AMD processing chips that were going to be completely fine with those speeds. It just really comes down to what do you actually want, because it's not a need, it's a luxury at this point.
yeah,
You know, it's like, for example, my particular rig, I have an RTX 2070 Super and I have a Ryzen 7 3700X. It can do anything I want within limitations. There are certain games where I have a 1440p monitor and it will fluctuate below 60 frames per second,
yeah,
and I'm kind of bummed. Like I want to see 140 plus on my 1440p monitor, but it's not a requirement. I can also unplug a couple of monitors and get more processing power too.
yeah,
I can close more apps. I can do different things. But it's mostly like I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through that effort.
yeah,
But then you got to decide, is it worth that? And I think that might be where some people are if they're reading articles about this, of just being excited about the new processor. Either you need to make an upgrade, you're a couple of generations late, or if you just want to have the newest generation thing, you
right,
know?
yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like, that's what I say. If you're due for an upgrade, you want the latest and greatest, then here it is. But um,
Hmm.
I think for most people though, probably be overkill. So just be
I think
careful
so
and
too, dude.
wise for where you shop, like how you shop, and like
I think you need to be 2 generations back
yeah,
to
that most
justify it.
people will be fine. I mean, like the other thing too is like being mindful, and most people don't think about it, but like if you're upgrading your PC, like be mindful of the CPU and GPU you pair, because those like it's so easy for one to bottleneck the other. So you just have to be mindful. Like if you're getting you don't want to get a 40 series and then buy like a Intel chip that's like 3 generations behind, because
Yeah,
that CPU is gonna bottleneck you so hard. So I mean, that's the
exactly.
biggest
You got to
thing.
match it. It's a
Yeah,
balancing
you have
act
to
in a
match
way.
it. Yeah. So it's like people are just like, oh, I'm gonna upgrade my graphics card, then everything's gonna run great, and I'm not gonna have issues. It's
Nope.
like, it depends on how old your PC is, because if your PC's old, then
Exactly.
it's not gonna make a difference. So
And then there's like other things of everybody likes to overclock their stuff, but they don't realize when you overclock your stuff, you're going within the parameters or extending the parameters of whatever chips you're using can
yeah,
handle, and that stress tests it and decreases the life of it. And
yep,
there's this whole thing called the silicon lottery.
some are
It's
better
about
than
the
the other.
materials used to build it, and it's like there's a Pandora's box of situations that you can fall
Yeah.
into.
I
You
mean,
just
yeah,
got to be careful. You have to do research. You have to understand what you're buying, and you also need to make a conscious, informed decision as a consumer.
yeah. Like I don't know, overclocking for the most part, like in most
At this
cases,
point,
in
I
most
don't think it matters.
cases, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like at this point, in most cases, like overclocking gets you such a minimal performance boost that it's just not worth it for the life of the chip.
Exactly.
I think so.
Exactly.
It's like you might as well
Y-
just get some, keep it stock. You can maybe boost it a little bit, but I don't think there's any reason to go like 2 gigahertz higher or something like that, or like a gigahertz higher even. There's no
Yeah,
reason to do that. So
I think people only want to do that if they're trying to set like a record or something.
yeah, like, it's for the
You know?
enthusiast and yeah, people trying
Yeah.
to really get the most. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Most use cases, it just doesn't matter. You could do like, or just use like the Intel boost profile. Like
Exactly.
just
You'll
use
be
the
all right.
built-in one. You'll be fine. Like you don't
Yeah,
have to do
seriously.
anything crazy. You don't have to like liquid nitrogen
Windows
or
boost.
yeah, yeah. Dude, you don't have to like I don't know. Yeah, you don't have to.
Liquid nitrogen would be insane.
Yeah, or just like the
Too much.
aquarium PCs where it's like in the
Hmm.
non-electric liquid. It's crazy.
Yep. Alcohol maybe? I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
it
forget what it
uses.
is. Liquid. I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah, dude, just be mindful.
Non-conductive.
Yeah, there you go. Just be mindful, guys. Be mindful and get what works for you. Do your research.
That's a fact. All right, let's jump into the next episode. So this one's come from Game Rant. It's about Bungie gives an update on Marathon, and I'm pretty excited to get into this one. I personally haven't really been paying attention to Marathon. That's just kind of how my train of thought is with new games that you don't know anything about. I like to see the updates every now and then, but I'm not like religiously looking at the blog posts.
Um,
But this one is coming from Game Rant, like I said. It is Bungie gives update on Marathon. Um, I can't pronounce his name.
can't either.
Virage. I know Virage is the first name. Uh, no idea what the last name is. Sorry. I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna butcher it. So let's just jump into the article that was written over at Game Rant. So Bungie has published a brand new development update for its upcoming live service extraction shooter Marathon. While their near 10-minute video provides a lot of details about Marathon, Bungie fans who want to see new gameplay will have to exercise some more patience. Originally a story-driven first-person shooter series from the 1990s, the Marathon name is set to be revived by Bungie with a big modern twist. Marathon will return as a live service extraction shooter, and while some fans are hesitant about the decision, the unique and absurdity art style depicted in their Marathon's initial trailer has many others excited. Unfortunately, several reports from Marathon's troubled development have somewhat shaken confidence in the game, but Bungie's latest update indicates that it's shaping up nicely. You gotta appreciate Bungie being bullish on so many things, dude.
Yeah,
You
I
really
mean,
do.
yeah, you really do.
So, following recent I'm struggling with words, brother. Struggling or following recent rumors about Bungie gearing up to announce more Marathon news, the studio released a new video yesterday discussing how the extraction shooter's development is progressing. Marathon director Joe Ziegler,
I think Joe
uh,
Ziegler is how I said it. I don't know.
Ziegler,
Man, I think it's how I
Ziegler,
said it.
Ziegler. Ziegler. Okay. Joe Ziegler sat opposite a camera for over 9 minutes and outlined some new information about the game, such as Marathon being an, in quotes, intense survival experience. There is a goal of every gameplay session is to get out alive. Well, I mean, I feel like that's just the definition
Sounds
of an extraction
sounds
shooter,
like
you
an
know?
extraction shooter.
Yeah. Gematsu has published a transcript of the video for those interested, but the highlights are as follows. So, Marathon Director unveils new details about the gameplay and characters. Ziegler confirms that Marathon will feature both PvE and PvP elements as players will be plunged into hostile environments with enemies and other players. There will be quests to complete and loot to find along the way, and equipable items will expectedly alter the selected character stats. As for characters, Marathon's runners is what they call them, will offer a handful of abilities that can be used alongside the equipped gear, confirmed a hero shooter slant. Pretty cool. Ziegler revealed two new pieces of concept arts for Marathon as well, showcasing two runners codenamed Thief and Stealth. These internal codenames apparently hint at their abilities. I would imagine so. Thief, you're probably fast, right? And then Stealth, I mean, maybe you can't see me.
Oh, yeah,
That's
like
my
I'm
theory.
liking these arts though. Okay,
It does. I like the
it's
style, man.
pretty
It's a
good.
good little switch. Good little switch. Marathons must wait until 2025 for gameplay footage. That's unfortunate.
Oh,
So, as far as Marathon's development is concerned, Ziegler stated that Bungie has been making aggressive changes to the game in the past couple of years after collecting feedback from playtesters and content creators. Bungie was even holding marathon playtests earlier this month with a select group of content creators. Ziegler did confirm that Marathon's environments are coming together in a really, really beautiful way, but the character models still have a way to go. Lastly, the director said that the next game or the next Marathon update will come in mid 2025, and that Bungie plans to significantly expand the playtest. I would assume beta testing at that point, open and
I would
close,
hope
like
so.
being able to stream and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Fans across PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC can now wishlist Marathon as well. There's one last little paragraph here. It's more of a, I think, an opinion piece from the article writer here. So it looks quite likely that Marathon's next trailer will debut in the summer of 2025, possibly at PlayStation State of Play or Summer Games Fest, our favorite show, by the way. However, the bigger question among fans is the game's release date. Previous rumors allege that Marathon could slip to 2026. I would imagine so if they're keeping a closed window, right? From its internal 2025 release window. It remains to be seen whether the delay happens, but going by Bungie statements, it seems Marathon could launch in early access next year and fully release in 2026. What is your take, Kyle? How do you feel about it?
Just the last piece. I feel as though Bungie would not do an early access thing and they would just push it till it's ready for full release. I'm thinking 2026 as well. Yeah, especially if we're trying to do more playtests and whatnot, and we're trying to get something ready by middle of next year. I just don't see how this could come out next year. So I think 2026 seems accurate. But I mean, I like the little concept art. Again, we really can't say much because we don't have gameplay. We don't know what this is going to be like. I'm excited because it's Bungie, as we said in the past.
Yeah,
I really want to see what they're. I know it's
working on this game for a minute.
I'm saying, I hope this ain't gonna be some like generic thing. I want that Bungie to do something unique and different and all that. So, but I mean, I trust Bungie because it's Bungie, right? I mean, obviously, not many probably of the creative pieces that were there for Halo and whatnot, but hopefully some of that DNA stayed. I don't know. But I think, I mean, I'm certainly interested to see more. I mean, I think too. It's got me worried with how like Project Team has gone and how there's like you bring Joe Ziegler in and people left and it's like kind of high up people that left and so it's kind of like that's got me worried. But I don't know. At this point I need to see gameplay and I don't really have. I feel like I don't have too much more of an opinion outside of that. It's like until I see stuff, it's like it's hard for me to be like, oh, I'm ready or like this is gonna be great because I don't know.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like. It's mostly just all talk at this point, and I also want to see something. We need more information. We just need to see it play out, dude. That's what it really comes down to for me.
Yeah, it makes me hope that when we do see gameplay, it's in a really good state. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping Bungie does. It's not like we're gonna wait till mid next year to show it, but we're probably only gonna be in like a beta, like an alpha stage or something like that. Like I hope that's not the case. It just looks like crap. Like I really hope that doesn't happen. So
it can't, right? Because I don't know. Bungie has had a lot of trouble with their studio heads, especially in the development of the first game, Destiny 2 or Destiny 1. But Destiny 2, they kind of figured it out and they've been updating it. I would say Destiny 2 is a success. It had a lot of people playing it and a lot of DLC, a lot of support. It sold a bunch of copies. It made a lot of money. So this next game, when Bungie takes their time like this, it usually hits. Let's hope that actually happens. I don't want to see another AAA developer work so hard for so many years and then all of a sudden it just comes out that they're not good. That'd be terrible, dude.
Yeah, I'd be so upset just for like all the Bungie fans alone. Not even
dude.
Outside of Marathon. It's like just a lot of people love the studio. So, I'm hoping for the best. Come on, Joe Ziegler, you gotta get this out, man. Gotta give us something. Give us something to enjoy, man. On
the fact, dude. But yeah, that's basically the little bit of update that we have about Marathon coming out of Bungie.
True. And just did a talking head piece for 10 minutes. There you go. it's just him. I was like scrolling through it. It's just him.
Yeah, it's just him chatting. Somebody in our group chat said that it looks like there's somebody behind him with like tiny hands or
like
whatever.
Very kind of like
the
only thing moving
robotic.
in his hands. It's like not.
Yeah.
Man.
He's not a very personable person, I guess.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I don't really notice that. I can tell he has a body.
He looks
normal to me.
He looks very comfortable. I don't know what they were talking about in the chat then. Whatever.
I don't know. What are they talking about? Jeez. Shall we talk about Sony while we're on the topic of Bungie?
Let's figure out how Sony's doing.
Oh man,
and why they want to shut down studios, man.
Listen, this is crazy when I heard this, and it's kind of a funny piece of news. I mean, it sucks, but it's just I don't know. It's still kind of funny because it's like what happened. So, this is coming from GamesIndustry.biz. Got Vicky Blake on the article. Sony shuts Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios. You remember what Firewalk Studios is, Mike? Do you remember?
Hey, dude, wait, hold up. I got to remind myself. Because didn't we just cover it not too long ago? They
Yeah.
were the team
The
that,
hint, hint is in the
It's in
hero graphic.
image. Yeah. Okay, so do I tell them or do you tell them?
Oh no! Listen,
Concord.
it's Concord. Sony
Oh, yeah, you say
is
Concord.
Concord. Sony is shuttering Neon Coin Firewalk Studios. In an update to Sony employees, Herman Holst, CEO of Studio Business Group, Sony Interactive Entertainment, said that after evaluating our games portfolio and status of our projects to ensure we are meeting near and long-term business priorities, it was making the, quote, difficult decision to close Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios. In the former's case, Holst said that whilst mobile remains a priority growth area for the studio's business, the company needed to concentrate on titles that are in line with PlayStation Studios' pedigree and have the potential to reach more players globally. For Firewalk, Holst said that Sony had spent considerable time these past few months exploring all of our options. It has determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. It's unclear how many people will be affected by the layoffs and the closures, but Firewalk says it employs 51 to 200 people on LinkedIn and Neon Koi 11 to 50. Quote, I know none of this is easy news to hear, particularly with colleagues and friends departing SIE, Holst added. Both decisions were given serious thought, and ultimately we feel they are the right ones to strengthen the organization. Neon Koi and Firewalk were home to many talented individuals, and we will work to find a placement for some of those impacted within our global community of studios where possible. While today's a difficult day, there is much to look forward to in the months ahead from the studio business group and our teams, Holst concluded. I remain confident that we are building a resilient and capable organization driven by creating unforgettable entertainment experiences for our players. Following Concord's shutdown, GamesIndustry.biz spoke to experts about the many factors behind the decision, how live service games could avoid a similar fate. Yeah, dude, this is it, Mike. Firewalk Studios is now no more after releasing Concord, and then 2 weeks later, not even like, what was it, a week or two or something like that, the game shut down, and now the studio is no more, which effectively is it's effectively just killing Concord. So that game has no chance of coming back at this rate. So yeah, crazy turn of events, Mike. You spend hundreds of millions on a game, just
insane,
and then all of a sudden the studio, like, you just
just to acquire it was like $100 million.
It's like,
and that has to be one of the biggest blunders I think in all of gaming.
Biggest fumble, dude. I don't think you can make fumble bigger.
I don't know what
it's almost worse than Anthem. It's a big fumble.
Like, Anthem was massive too, but
at least Anthem
that much money.
Survived. Now it's like you can't even play this game.
Yeah, Anthem, they were giving that stuff away for free in the nearest GameStop.
Really?
Nah, dude, that's actually insane. It's so bad.
It's bad. Yeah, dude, it's so funny. I saw some gameplay too of like some of like the animations and stuff of like the heroes with like the guns and whatnot in Concord, and I was looking at that. I was like, I could tell like someone took time. Like, this looks pretty good. Like the animations and stuff looked good. I was like, you could tell this is like a AAA title in quotes. Like, it's like they put a lot of like emphasis to detail on some of that stuff, and it just, dang. Like, you look at it and it's like, yeah, looks like a AAA title. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they just fumbled the bag, really, because it didn't offer anything new. Yeah, you can have all these like great things that make it look cool. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. If the game's not fun, if you're not bringing anything new, gamers get bored, they move on. That's just what it is.
Well, there's this game called Overwatch, Mike. What about
That's true.
Like Valorant or
Yeah, fair. Okay.
What about some hero shooters? You know what I'm saying?
These are other games that would 100% be better than Concord. If you're trying to compete with them and you don't make it better, you don't offer anything new, you're gonna fail.
Exactly.
It is what it is, man.
A Deadlock, dude. Not the new Valve game. That's around the corner.
Yeah, that's been popping off a lot. Like all these closed betas and like closed game trials and stuff. People have really been enjoying that. Very cool to see.
Valve cooked. I mean, this thing, like, Valve is kind of like, I feel like I want Bungie to be like Valve, right? Like, you release something, it's good and it's different.
Yeah.
So somehow marathon, but just quick little callback. But yeah, I don't know. It's It's just crazy, dude. Like, I honestly don't know if I was expecting Firewalk to shut down this quick. I suspected they'd probably give it another chance with Concord because they spent so much money on it. But
That's what I thought too. To see them basically say, "Nah, we're good," and then shut down the studio, it's like,
yeah,
whoa,
it's like,
okay,
okay. I guess this game doesn't
yeah,
have a chance. And it's like there's probably a solid just foundation there at least. But I don't know. It's just like they're just like giving it up entirely. So who knows? Maybe some of the bones could be brought into like another game or something. Could you imagine? Some of the I don't know.
yeah. Hold on. Should we be concerned that they basically this game failed and they immediately shut down the studio? Like it lasted for maybe 2.5 weeks to
Yeah.
the public, and then they just dropped the studio right away.
Is it studio?
What's
Can't do it.
yeah?
Buns. Can't do it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they saved us. Maybe Sony knows best, Mike. Maybe what was it? The business group? Oh yeah, Sony Studio Business Group. Maybe they know best, bro. Maybe they're like, hey, look, we're gonna save these consumers and not subject them to this and
Possibly they're like, this is
Maybe, dude.
disgusting. We gotta bury this and act like it never happened. You know, like some artists or some studios, they'll just go into the state of like, okay, that one game we wrote and like directed or like made, or that song that came out, yeah, let's just act like that never existed. Let's just continue on the story as if that was never there. Close your eyes, guys. Look away.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a fumble. But I mean, hopefully these people get new jobs. That's
Yeah,
just
hopefully.
tough.
At this rate, dude. Get shuffled around.
Would you put that on your resume? I probably wouldn't. But you kind of have to, right? You spent years there developing a game.
Yeah, especially for those years, like, yeah, you can't have a gap. So it's probably better than having a gap.
It's not right, dude. It's just sad.
But like, yeah, I worked on that. I honestly, as a developer, I would probably be like, if I found out I was interviewing someone that worked on that, I'd probably just ask them so many questions. I'd be like, all right, hold on, pause the interview.
yeah.
I have questions.
Yeah, we gotta get to the bottom of this.
Like, what happened? Like, what's going on?
That's a good point too. I didn't think about it that way.
And I'm sure most of them probably are good. I feel like probably most developers are like good at what they do, and like just so happened they just like maybe they didn't align with the vision or something, and yeah, they still had to make it kind of thing. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that happens plenty of times. There's plenty of times you've been working for a job that maybe you wish you could do differently, and you talk to the supervisors, and they're just like, "No, no, no, we had to do it this way because it's always been done that way." There's not
Yeah.
much you can do after a while. It's like, well, at the end of the day, I work for you, so I'll do that.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. Like, I think my way's better and faster and more efficient, but you want me to do it a different way? Yeah, whatever. I'll do it
Yeah.
the other way.
That's what I'm
Who
saying.
knows?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, something
At
like
the
that.
end of the day, it's a job. So
We all gotta have them to live, dude. It's crazy in this country called the United States of America. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, get to work.
Get to work. You know who's no longer getting to work and hasn't been since like April, May?
What a segue. Jeez. Oh my gosh, this guy is
Oh my god,
ridiculous.
listen. Most of them probably have new jobs right now.
Oh, I would think so, actually. This is kind of nuts. So this article is coming from IGN. It's written by Rebecca Valentine. We've covered multiple times. This actually came out on Halloween, early in the morning. Happy
It's when we're
Halloween,
recording.
everybody.
Maybe I'm giving out candy right now.
That's facts. Alrighty, so former Arkane Studios president says Microsoft closing the studio was, in quotes, stupid and not a good decision. Was it to please the investors, the stock market? They are playing a different game. Ooh, a little bit of spice here. Let's get into it. So, Microsoft shut down Redfall and Prey developer Arkane Austin in a sudden, devastating move earlier this year. And the studio founder has now called the move stupid and not a good decision. Not really surprised, but also this goes into don't create a bad game like Redfall and you'll be okay. Like,
Yeah, like once you
that game was not good.
I mean, the game wasn't good, but also got to be fair and say like, okay, how much of it was the devs' decision? How much of it was like the creative directors and the higher ups? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it is pretty bad though. You know what I'm saying?
It was unplayable, man. It was
not fun.
No, it was hated upon launch, and whenever that happens, it's a top down thing for me. Like top to bottom, you guys all messed up. That's just
Like
crazy.
nobody said anything. The devs didn't riot, bro. Is that what you're telling me? This game
They
stinks.
did. In an interview with PC Gamer, Arkane Studios founder and current lead of Wolfeye Studios, Rafael Colantonio, I think Tonio, Colantonio,
Colantano. I don't know.
yeah, don't know where he might be from, but they were asked about the move. So Raphael, who left Arcane in 2017 to found Wolfeye, had some thoughts to share. Here are his thoughts. I think if you look a little bit, it's obvious that Arkane Austin was a very special group of people that have made some cool things and that could pull it off again. I think it was a decision that just came down to we need to cut something. Was it to please the investors, the stock market? They're playing a different game. Interesting. So PC Gamer asked Colantonio, if he knew why Microsoft had made the decision to shutter the Austin studio. Colantonio didn't claim to know. He's been gone from the company since well before Microsoft acquired it. After all, the most logical theory people have speculated is due to the struggles of Arkane Austin development at Redfall. But Colantonio didn't float that in the interview. I wouldn't either. If you're that far detached,
Yeah,
probably just shut your mouth,
I'd be like, I don't know.
keep to yourself.
I think it's the.
Uh,
I want to say it's the same studio that made Dishonored. So like, get some good
yes.
in the tank, and then you
Oh
drop
yeah, they
this. Like,
make
what
good.
the?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. I feel like you're only as good as your last game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like that's how it
I mean,
is
yeah,
because
I think so.
game critics are brutal.
Yep.
I really think that.
I agree. I would agree with
Uh,
that.
so he goes on to continue in this interview. There are a couple of little excerpts here that we'll read. The rules that they play, we might not understand them. It's a different thing. It's hard to know why they did what they did. The only thing that I stand by is saying that the specific choice of killing Arcane Austin, that was not a good decision. The interview continued with Colantonio expressing that recreating a similar team to Arcane Austin would be impossible or at best would take forever. When you have the magic of Harvey Smith and Ricardo Bear, or etc., that all come together, it's a specific moment in time and space that just worked out this way. That took forever to reach. Those people together can really make magic. It's not like, doesn't matter, we'll just rehire. No, try it. That's what big groups do all the time. They try to just hire massively and overpay people to create those magic groups. It doesn't work like this. So to me, that was stupid. But what do I know? It's like, okay. You made some good games, dude. You might know something.
Why don't
Um,
think?
I'll close this out real quick, and then we'll just talk a little bit more about what you think, Kyle, what your impression is. So, Arcane Austin was closed alongside Tango GameWorks, which is back, it's alive, and Alpha Dog Games. Arcane Leon remained intact, and Tango GameWorks was acquired a few months later by Krafton. In a letter to staff at the time, head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, said the cuts were due to a reprioritization of titles and resources at the company. Microsoft had previously announced plans to cull, is that cull?
Cole,
P-U-L-L?
yeah, Cole.
Yeah, 1,900 staff from its gaming workforce. The company CEO, Satya Nadella, received a $30 million pay raise last year. They always love
Interesting.
bringing that up,
Interesting.
dude. They always love bringing that up. So
Saucy.
like, oh, you guys want to cut stuff to make the budget look good, and you gave the company CEO a $30 million pay raise. It's like, bro, that's insanity. Because that
Right.
also gets in the books. That's something to talk about. Some
Yeah.
of that stuff, though, which is weird, it's voted on the board of like trustees or board of directors or whatever. They vote on the salary for the CEOs, and they vote on how much the bonus should be worth. So it can get kind of dicey like that. I don't know how that $30 million pay raise came, but that's
Yeah.
just something to think about. It's not always the CEO's fault that they get paid a certain amount.
Yeah. It's kind of yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. It's yeah. It's weird, right? It kind of makes you wonder. Yeah, like how does the CEO like how does he scale that? He's not like
Yeah,
doesn't become like OP or anything. Yeah, it makes sense. Um.
pretty much. You don't want to run rampant, especially when you have shareholders you have to appease, you have to deliver to. But yeah,
Yeah.
something I'll really consider. What do you think, Kyle?
Makes I will say it makes a great point though. talking about that. Like, look, if you have some of the goats when it comes to making games, you have some people that you have people that really know what you're doing. If you lose those people, we see it sometimes in the industry where it's like you hear these creative directors leaving, you hear like important figures and moving on. You oftentimes see that a game does not deliver or live up to what it could have been had the people still been there. So I think it makes a good point of like
implode.
Yeah, I think it makes a good point of like, look, there was really good people there before. They're not there now, and so am I surprised that you're just you think that they're replaceable when they really aren't? Like, then it's just like, yeah, it's like that's kind of the thing. Can't just like, oh, he's pretty good. Let me just pay him a bunch of money and see if he does it. And then it's like, he's trying to manufacture magic. It's don't work like that, man. Especially in the creative space.
Yeah, try to do this like plug and play crap. It's not. It might not work, man. That's just what it comes down to.
I have some people that are really good at what they do, and sure, like you hire someone else, you hire someone outside that you think's really good, but maybe you have a project in mind that you give to them, and they don't come up with their own thing, and so it's like they're shoehorned in, and it's like not their vision, so it just doesn't really mesh, and then they end up leaving, and then the project releases, and it's just dog crap, and then you're just like, I don't know what to do it. So I think it makes a good point. And so yeah, I think just closing the studio, yeah, but I mean, yeah, sure, I agree, it definitely wasn't a good decision, but I mean, I think they probably felt like they had no other choice considering they released Redfall, and then it's like, did we try and find the right people, really take time with this, or should we just move on, kind of thing? And they just decided to move on. So yeah, I mean,
sometimes that has to be made.
I think it's just unfortunate timing too, just and the CEO is probably like, all right, listen here, Phil, we gotta get rid of some people, all right? Why don't you just draw up your little studio map and make a couple kill shots, all right, buddy? And we'll all be you'll still have your job, we'll be good.
Yeah, here are the ones on the chopping block. Throw a dart at the dartboard.
All right, hits. Tango Game Works. It's like, what?
Yeah,
no,
like,
I didn't mean to hit that. And then
it's too late now. You're committed.
Yep. At least they got ball back though, so there's still still some up there. But yeah, dude, it's like you're just hitting a random like BGS studio or something like that. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever. Right. Like, you hit Austin, which made good games before, and they make one crap game. It's like, all right, well, you got to go. Do I say it? Like, you have all the other studios, like the Microsoft ecosystem. Yeah, you couldn't have just like darted 343. I mean, come on.
Seriously, man. Well, they kind of did, right? I mean, there's Halo Studios now. It's gonna start over. Yeah, okay.
They really let them do a UE5 kind of reboot of the
It's about time, though.
I mean, for them,
honestly,
don't get me wrong. It's great.
I feel like the studio's been so gutted that they're basically starting off at new. The switching to Halo Studios is a different name doesn't mean anything to me. Switching engines means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So
thanks.
I think it's the only time I had hope. I had hope at the start of Halo 4. I got really excited at Halo 5 because of the campaign and the new story of where the direction of the game was going, because I was really invested with the Halo 4 campaign. They dropped the ball with Halo 5 and I lost all hope with them. And then Halo Infinite came and they're like, we're going back to the roots. We're building a new engine. All these lies that they said. Pick up the game and I'm like, okay, this is fun. Then I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's kind of busted. Oh yeah, it's definitely broken. Like that kind of thing happened. Yeah. So hopefully a new proven engine can make things better. And I think that's what might happen with some of these studios where they're losing a lot of talent. I mean, what you just mentioned about losing Harvey and Ricardo over here at Arkane, it's like, okay, where are they going to go? What can they create? Maybe they can actually, there's more magic to be had, is what I think should be taken from this article.
True. Always is. Always is to get the right people, dude.
Exactly.
When you get the Cordy bar logs in your studio, Mike, you make God of War, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just happens, dude.
It's a fact, dude.
But
alrighty.
Should we talk about the industry some?
Talk about the industry some, Mike?
This is actually
give us a pulse.
It's a good thing. Because this is actually a good next article to do. So talk about these studios shutting down and whatnot. I think it's time to talk about something that Jason Schreier talked about on Bloomberg. I did a little piece about the industry right now. After an era of bloat, veteran video game developers are going smaller. thanks in part to a growing accessibility of powerful game making tools. Pared down studios from proliferating. Listen, Jason Schreier dropping some heat. We're going to get into it. The credits sequence for Starfield, the latest video game from Bethesda Game Studios, lasted. Want to guess how long it lasted, Mike?
I don't know. What do you think? An hour? 2 hours?
40 minutes, but hey, that would have been crazy
Jeez.
if it was like an hour, 2 hours. 40 minutes for video game credits, by the way. It features thousands of names from around the world, including writers, designers, producers, programmers, animators, 2D artists, 3D artists, analytics managers. See, it's kind of crazy. 2D artists and 3D artists, like, do some of them do both, or is like one specialized in the other? I'm curious because I don't know how that works in a video game. But
yeah, I don't either.
Analytics managers, studio directors, voice actors, casting directors, session coordinators, sound engineers, dialogue editors, prop supervisors, and translators. The core development team included more than 400 people across 4 different offices.
Dude, can I side note real quick that something I learned that I found interesting. Maybe you will too. Maybe our listeners or viewers. In Japan, we talked about this when we were talking about Assassin's Creed, with the new samurai movie game coming out. Why am I forgetting the name?
Shadows,
Whatever.
I think.
Shadows. Thank you. Sorry, man. Yeah, in Japanese culture, they will go watch the movies, and when the credits roll, like in America, they other than Marvel movies where there's an end credit scene, most of the time what happens is they sit and they watch and wait for all of the credits to roll to give appreciation. It's like a respect thing. And I was like, dude, I wish the US did that. Like just to like let it roll, man. Let's check it out. Let's see.
I ain't got time to appreciate and then just walk out.
Yeah, it's like, all right, that was cool, whatever, and then walk out. It's like, dude, it took them years to do this movie,
literally,
bro.
dude.
Give credit. 40 minutes worth
video game. It's crazy.
Of credits, though. That's kind of nutty. How fast are the credits rolling?
I mean, do I have a space bars like speed up? Like,
no shot.
Dude, there's some games that did that, I think, where you can like hold it and it goes faster. Most of them just like
hold Y or whatever.
Yeah, most of them's like triangle. Here, just hold this to skip it altogether. But
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Did you know we actually talked about this? I think a little bit in another article, but for Nate Perkapile, lead artist in Starfield, the title's vast scale required a painful amount of bureaucratic grunt work. Yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Throughout the prolonged development process, Perkapile attended upward of 20 meetings a week to communicate with staff and ensure that everyone was moving in the same direction.
Sanity, dude.
It's a lot of administrative work. Just saying.
Jeez, bro. That's half your work week.
And meetings, bro.
Because each meeting I know is like they always milk an hour out of your life.
Yeah.
20 hours out of a 40-hour work week. Or you're probably working 60 hours if I'm this guy.
Yeah.
Whatever. Insane.
Eventually, Perkapile grew wistful the old days of Bethesda where he started in 2007. Back then, their team consisted of fewer than 100 people. Worked out of a single basement, and yet were able to create a major hits such as Fallout 3 and Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Sick of the bloat, he left Bethesda in 2021 and started his own shop. He has since gone on to make the Axis Unseen, a heavy metal horror game released this month, which he developed himself rather than a team of hundreds. I could pretty safely say there's not a single day that I've even contemplated going back, Perkapile said. That scale of production is not necessarily enjoyable for a lot of people. You're very much a cog in the machine. Just cog in the machine, man. I can tell this guy likes metal music. As video games have grown more complicated, with larger worlds and more realistic graphics, the companies behind them have expanded dramatically. Top franchises such as Assassin's Creed now employ legions of programmers and artists. In 2022, Activision Blizzard Inc. said it had more than 3,000 people working on Call of Duty. 30 bands.
Dude,
3 bands, I guess you go by thousands. 3 bands, bro, working on COD. It's crazy. As a result, budgets have swelled. Uncharted 2 from Sony Group Core's Naughty Dog was released in 2009 and had a budget of $20 million. Studio's latest game, Last of Us Part 2, cost more than $200 million. In response, a significant number of long-time game workers like Perkapile are ditching mammoth productions in favor of smaller teams where they hope to enjoy more autonomy, work more productively, and spend less time in meetings. It's an aspiration that feels more attainable today thanks to the growing accessibility of powerful game-making tools such as Unreal Engine, which Percopile and many others have used. Exact numbers can be difficult to pinpoint, but in recent years, developers with decades of experience, including top directors at major companies, have left in droves to work for smaller outfits, some quite voluntarily, whilst others were pushed out as gaming companies cut tens of thousands of jobs over the last 2 years. Renee Gittins, alumni board chair of the International Game Developers Association, said that smaller teams are more nimble, able to take greater risks, and have lower overhead. Ain't that the truth? You know what I'm saying, Mike? Let me talk about that. Let me talk about the indie, you know? It's crazy. Small studios are not burdened by stockholder expectations, who have little regard for the ebb and flow of the game development costs and profits, he said. Stig Asmussen, who directed 2 hit Star Wars games for Electronic Arts' Respawn subsidiary, quit in 2023 to start his own company. One of his goals, he said in an interview, was to recreate the frictionless atmosphere of Respawn's earlier, leaner days before it was purchased by EA and became part of a much larger, more bureaucratic organization. When you're only tracking 100 people, it's a lot easier to do things more in line with what exactly the needs of the team are, he said. He plans to hire between 80 to 150 people, enough to execute an ambitious vision without sacrificing camaraderie. I want to be able to know everybody on the team, he said. I mean,
it's
what can
ambitious.
You ask for, you know? What can you ask for? I'm saying. Learning to create games really within tighter constraints can be liberating, said Mike Laidlaw. Mike Laidlaw. That's a pretty cool last name. Who worked on big corporations? Who worked at big corporations such as Ubisoft Entertainment, SA, and EA, where he directed Dragon Age Inquisition. 2020, he co-founded a new studio, Yellow Brick Games, where he runs a team of around 50 people that he says is able to look at these limitations of scope as opportunities to be clever. He also finds it easier to keep everybody on the same page. Because the overall team is small, the relationships feel a lot more personal, he said. Communication is a lot more direct. Veteran game developers say that another advantage of smaller teams is that they typically correspond with lower budgets, which often allow game creators to take more risks. Two of this year's 10 best reviewed and most successful games, the card game Balatro and the mystery exploration game Animal Well, were created by solo developers. Both make use of experimental gameplay ideas that larger game companies might have balked at, particularly if they were operating with budgets in the 8 or 9 figures. It keeps the cost of development down, Animal Well creator Billy Basso said. It's a much less risky way to finish something.
Yeah.
Games,
at the end of the day, yeah. I never really thought about it in terms of inflated budgets when it comes to staffing, of why indie developers are the only ones taking risks.
Yeah.
It is clearly just the natural evolution of big corporation, big conglomerate of people working together to create something with a vision that's proven to be successful, because the risk is so much higher. Like if you miss, you're losing tens, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You're ending up like Concord and Firewalk Studios shuttering down in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Or you can do this solo high risk maneuver where it's just all your budget, all your money going into it and paid off. It's like, oh crap, this is going to be really good. Animal Well, I don't really know much about, but I remember seeing the tweet from the guy who started Balatro, and he was freaking out with how popular his games became.
Yeah.
It just goes to show.
And it was published. I think it was published by Video Game Donkey. His his first one of the first games he published.
Yeah, we covered that. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing when it comes to the cost of video games. Nowadays, it's really 2 things. It's literally just the cost of having people on the team and salary, benefits, whatnot. And then on top of that, if you're going to do any sort of significant marketing, that oftentimes takes a huge chunk. But it's the biggest cost for why games are so expensive now is literally because teams are so big and you have to pay those people. So that's literally most of the cost. And so it's you're not paying for systems or hardware or anything like that. You're really just paying for people. So it's why it's so expensive. Let's continue on.
What it is though.
Hironobu Sakagachi, said that right? 61-year-old creator of the Final Fantasy series, has worked on video games since the 1980s. In an interview earlier this year, he said he prefers smaller teams. His latest, the role-playing game Fantasian, they say, was crafted using physical dioramas rather than fancy computer graphics in large part, he said, because he wanted to figure out a way to keep the core team as small as possible. I set out to prove that even with a small team, you can create a fun RPG with a bit of creative thinking, he said. His company, Mistwalker, employs roughly 30 people and recently had an all-hands meeting at a Yinkanuku, I don't even know how to say that. At a yaki at a barbecue restaurant. I'm just gonna say barbecue restaurant. They had an all hands meeting at a barbecue restaurant where they could all fit in a single room. Physically being able to do that, being able to communicate with each other, is for me what creates a really cool environment, he said. Some developers believe that when games expand beyond a certain point, they often become less appealing to players. Ain't that right? Ain't that?
Yep.
Recent titles.
It's the truth.
Recent titles could prove this, Mike, such as Ubisoft's Star Wars Outlaws and Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which contain humongous worlds made by teams of hundreds of workers, failed to meet sales expectations, leading to a company-wide crisis. Heather Serlin, who spent years working on large games such as Starfield before starting her own smaller outfit, said she thinks fans are finding big bloated games to be wasteful and unnecessary. Players want games made by developers that are intimately familiar with the project. That's what I'm saying, Heather. That's what I'm saying. You know? I think I prefer smaller projects too. So smaller teams. Just me.
Yeah, and I mean it goes back to what I said about the indie devs are the ones taking risks. And if you have a smaller team, you can do everything they're saying. You can take more direction and accountability. A small team is just better organized, it seems.
It's true. Huge teams can also directly cause production problems by compartmentalizing units and making it difficult for individual workers to playtest their games and identify issues. CD Projekt SA's Cyberpunk 2077, which was pulled from the PlayStation Store after its launch because the game was such a mess, suffered from unwieldy, rigidly siloed teams, among other issues, which we've talked about as well, and heard a lot about. Conrad, the director on Cyberpunk 2077, left CDPR in 2021 and started his own shop with the explicit goal of staying small. He said in an interview that keeping his company below 100 people has many advantages, such as granting individual workers greater autonomy. Conrad said that sometimes when his studio is creating new features, his programmers will play them, fix any bugs they encounter, and even tweak the visual effects. In bigger companies, it's not possible. There's too much stuff to do, he said. This programmer will do the code, someone else will test it, and someone else will do special effects. For veteran game makers, moving to smaller teams doesn't just lead to more personal satisfaction and efficient production. It can also lead to better products. Despite being made in 2011 by a team a quarter the size of Starfield's vast workforce, Skyrim remains Bethesda's most critically and commercially successful game. Workpile, for one, says that's no coincidence. Quote, I think the best stuff that came out of those games came out of trusting people, he said. To do that, I think you need a smaller, more intimate team. Article, dude. What a mic drop. Listen, he's so right, dude. Skyrim is still goated. It's been 13 years, Mike. Still goated. You know what I'm saying?
It really is a very, very dedicated fan base still to this day. I think it's very interesting. I think it's just fascinating to see like that the big devs are coming out and basically saying the same thing we've been saying for a while now. Like, hey guys, it's not a joke out here. We need to make sure we actually lock it in, have a vision here, and that might require having a smaller team. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the natural expansion of a company is to start hiring rapidly, get a whole bunch of people, then you start shipping out bigger and bigger products. But I think there might be an issue going back to what I've said multiple times on the podcast, and I believe you agree with me, is this is more of an art form than it is shipping out a product. Because at the end of the day, you're selling a service of entertainment, and you're also trying to provide some form of like storytelling. And that's mostly what's going on. I feel like all the best games we've ever played is story-driven content with like archetypes of characters that we've seen in books for thousands of years.
Yep.
And some form, some swing upon that of just telling stories. Even all live service story games like Overwatch has a background story with it too. And Overwatch is a very successful game. So I feel like if you go to that level of focus, I think that's really what it is. More than the amount of people and the small amount of teams, it's just the focus to create something good, something magical. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my hot take.
Hey, dude. So no, I think it's a good take. Listen, yeah, it's it almost makes you think too and wonder about like, if we just made if you're gonna make an open world game, why do we have to make it like bigger and better every time? Bigger and better. Why don't you just like let's keep it the scale, the size of like something like Skyrim. Just make it a modern technology and just make it like don't like I feel like with RPGs especially, it's so easy to just like make these giant, massive worlds, but like just keep the world relatively small and just make something good.
Yeah, yeah,
That'd
I
be
know.
my
I know.
preference.
It was like gaming trends are hilarious. I think
Yeah.
because there's always something that they're trying to recreate or like do a spin off of or whatever it might be, and it's just so funny to see. It's like we kind of went through the PUBG, Fortnite era of battle royales. Then we went through a miniature version of that with like Escape from Tarkov, that other game that I can't remember the name of for extraction, like shooters and stuff. We're slowly seems like we're going back into arena gaming again, like the COD
That's
series
Cycle
is
Frontier.
very
I was
yeah,
thinking of.
like
Just
yes,
didn't work.
Cycle Frontier. Thank you. It didn't work, but it's just funny how it's like a circle of life. When at the end of the day, it just comes down to make a good game, good story, good mechanics. That's all. I don't
Yeah.
even care if it looks good. Like a good game
Yeah.
that is functional, good story, fun to play, bro. Like that's just what it is, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny to me.
Yeah. I think like I was thinking like talking to like good stories and stuff like that. Like Silent Hill 2, like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
game is really good. The story behind that game was something like they didn't alter it much. Like it was pretty much the same story. Like that story was so like the reason the story was so good, and I'd like I'm just piecing it together after like seeing reviews and stuff. It's like that story hits on very like psychological stuff and very like real topics, which is like something like I think
Yes,
most like
that can be
big
kind of
like
foreign to video
yeah,
games.
exactly. And most big budget like media and like AAA titles, they can't take those kind of risks of like doing very serious like undertones and like trying to like make controversial stuff or anything like that. You can't really like take those risks. I feel like, and so like
No,
seeing the
I feel like you can though. I feel like they
I
choose
don't
not
know.
to.
I mean,
I
like
like
I'm talking
in
about like
terms of
big AAA stuff, like big AAA stuff. Like they're most of the time they're gonna play it safe. They're not gonna do anything crazy. Like we're talking about like I
yeah,
mean we're talking about Silent Hill 2 is like very like
that's true.
we're
Okay,
talking
I
like
see what
we're
you.
talking about like
Yeah, I
essay and
see.
whatnot. Like you know what I mean? Like
I
it's very
yeah,
serious topic. So like they
I see what
taught
you're
like
saying.
there's undertones and there's like stuff that you know
Yeah,
and just
very
from like a
adult content that
cycle
we
yeah
probably
it's
can't
like
even.
exactly it's
Yeah,
very like adult themed content that's like not like direct but they do it in a place where it's like once you hit those story beats it's like oh like you start to realize like oh that's what this is about kind of thing.
yeah,
So and like it's harder I think for like especially a lot of like AAA titles especially if you're trying to have mass appeal you can't really like do crazy like off the wall stuff I feel like um
so I kind of understand that, but I want to push back just a little bit. Not the not the bit about adult themed
yeah
content, but I feel like there's been a growing trend of TV shows, of music, of movies, and now video games where it's dumbing down the content because like it's almost like patronizing to the audience or to the consumer. It's very like spelling everything out for you so that you can't think about what you're consuming.
yeah
You know what I mean? It's just like here's point A, here's point B, here's point C. Don't navigate away from the path whatsoever. This is the path we're going to go, and you can't have anything controversial within those topics or those ranges. And it's kind of disappointing to see. Whereas in the past, like some of the best movies ever, they ended on like cliff notes or like you ended the game or you ended the movie, you ended the show, and you were just like, wait, what the heck just happened? And then the first thing you want to do is you want to go sit down with your buddy and talk to them about it.
yeah
And one of the ones where I had that when I was younger was Cloverfield. Remember that?
oh okay yeah
Because you don't know like where'd the monster come from? what happened? How is it going to end up?
Did you
Is the
vomit while
monster
you
still
watched
alive?
it?
Yeah, it's like what the heck? And I'm also invested in the characters. Did they survive? And it's just like it didn't like baby you
Yeah.
into what was going on. It just threw you in it.
Yep.
It's one of those things where I'm like, dude, I'm sick of freaking tutorials. I've ranted about this before. I don't tell me how to play your game when I've been playing games longer than your studio's been in existence. You know what I
Got
mean?
him.
Like,
Got him.
just leave me alone. Let me in the game. Let me skip your stupid tutorials. Let my buddy not have to play an online match unranked solo queue for 7 freaking games before he can play with me. It's like, what are you doing, bro?
That's the most annoying thing too. It's like when you have
Yeah,
to
but
like
that's what I'm
you have to do
saying.
the priest. It's like an hour of stuff. Oh, we could play together, but you like gotta get through the first hour. Like,
Yeah,
that's so annoys me.
I feel like it's just so unnecessary. Why are you babying us? Come on. Like,
Chop
I
chop
think I
chop chop.
think that needs to be more in the discussion. Also bring gore back. That's the adult theme Silent
Oh
Hill stuff I was
yeah.
talking about. But we got to bring that back just in general. Give me more Doom, brother. That just amazing content like that. I don't know. It's gaming's weird right now, but it's also amazing right now.
Yep. Lot to look
it's,
forward to.
it's
You know.
weirdly amazing.
Lot to look forward to, my friend. Yeah.
Yes, sir. How do you feel about it? Do you think how would you feel if some of your best not your best, your favorite studios would just dumb down, like bring it down from like 400 people to 40?
I'd be all for it. You kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm,
Okay.
I'm not a fan of layoffs, obviously, but I mean, I'd be, but like, hey, if you're trying to like slim things down again, I mean, I respect it because it's like, okay, maybe we're trying something different here, you know? I mean, I
Yeah.
think companies like Bethesda, they could really do something like that. It's either blow it up or change the process, and I don't know if they're good to
Yeah.
change it, so
I,
I don't know.
I'm sure there are studios that already do this, but like a giant conglomerate like Bethesda Studios, Activision, they could probably branch off sections, and you'd have more people at the studio heads, but there'll be a studio of a game. There'll be like a game director for this, and the next thing you
Yeah,
know, you have like massive 1,000+ employees with teams of 10. No, teams of like 100 teams of 10, right?
yeah,
And then that's just they're dishing out content, and like one of these hits, one of them doesn't. It's okay, but then we just have a whole bunch more games we can kind of play around with, and
yeah.
don't let them
It's true.
interact with each other. Like an ecosystem
Yeah,
for themselves so they can keep it small,
yeah.
keep it organized.
It's like, yeah, like I don't know. I feel like especially for like in like Bethesda's case, it's like if you need like, I mean, if you're sitting here needing hundreds of people for a game, it's like you're saying, like if you should almost just, I would say almost just like it's probably too big in scale if you need that many people. Just like dumb it
Yeah,
down
too
and
many cooks in the
do
too many
different
cooks in the
teams and
kitchen.
do different projects. We have so many different IP. It's like I feel
Yeah,
like I feel like it's just a waste of time to sit there and have like 500 people on the next Elder Scrolls, and it's like
yeah,
it's probably going to be bloated and just not going to be. It's going to run like crap because they're still using Creation Engine. That's I don't know. It's just like I can go on, but I mean I agree with your point. I think something like that would do them good. Just be like, hey, let's
yeah,
just like dumb this down. Y'all work on Elder Scrolls. Let's just have another team work on the next Fallout because like we have a TV show that did
yeah.
very well, and we want to ride that momentum.
Amazingly well.
Like
Yeah,
I
and the
don't know.
next season's going to be coming out, and they're filming it now, and they've already been approved for I think season 3. I think
Wouldn't
that might have
surprise
been
me.
rumored though.
We're
But
going
it's
to New
like that
Vegas,
game
Mike.
was
New
dude,
Vegas.
dude.
It's
My
canon.
60
It's canon.
Doc, my 60+ year old parents watched it and were trying to talk to me about it
Yep.
because they're
There you go.
excited. They're just like, apparently it's like a video game. Have you watched it though? And I was like, yeah. Like, what? How do you know about
Man.
this? And they said the same exact thing for The Last of Us. Like, there's this new like zombie-ish show that came out. It's really good. It's on HBO. It's called Last of Us. And I was like, you're talking about the video game? They're like, yeah, it's amazing. I didn't tell them it was a video game show
Yeah, yeah.
either. So it's
Just
like
found it. It's awesome.
this is where we're going, man. It's like it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I want
Very
more
cool to
Fallout
see.
show though, dude. Fallout show is so good, and the fact that it was canon was just like
So cool.
so good.
So cool.
You're
And it
telling me
was,
I'm watching
dude,
this and it like falls in line with the games? Or is that what you're telling me? Like
that's it.
it's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
like this is for real, for real? Oh,
Like
nice.
wait, this will have like impacts on the games? Okay.
Yeah.
Like it's sick.
Dude, yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Dude, yeah,
That's why I said it's weird, but it's exciting.
yeah. I feel like looking back on that, I feel like that's why the Fallout show is so good for me. Is because it actually had like canonical impacts. I think that's why it was
Yeah.
like if it was just like I mean, it still would have been good if it was like not related to the main like the actual storyline. But the fact that it was like, oh, okay, like I'm more invested now, and I think most people that play the games are way more invested. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's good stuff, dude.
Yeah, I'm definitely invested now. I'm looking forward to the show, dude. It's really nice because it's easier for me to watch a show than it is for me to play a video game all the way through.
I relate to that, honestly.
Yeah. It's like the show's
energy.
kind of spark notes,
Yeah.
and the game is the full book that you gotta go read.
Yeah, it
You
kind of is.
know? Ironically.
Yeah, it's like when you really want to shut your brain off. It's like I don't want to use controller. Like I would just.
Dude, I just want to sit down and get fat in the couch. Let me get fat in the couch, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
That's just
bro.
what I
That's
want
I'm
sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Oh man.
All right, brother.
That's all I had, Mike.
Yeah, I feel like this was a good week. I'm really excited to just hear about Marathon a little bit, just to get kind of an update. Unfortunately, we're not going to really get anything until 2026. That's a bummer too, because I was talking a game. I was like, dude, Marathon, finally, Bungie coming out with another game. This looks good. Let's go. And then it's delayed because Bungie went through some chaos because of Sony. But Sony laying it, shut down 2 studios is big news. And this industry update article from Bloomberg, it's definitely worth a read for everybody, and there's plenty of links that will actually take you to other like YouTube links and more information. So definitely check that out as well.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it'd be just and like one more note on that last thing. I think we don't necessarily have to blow studios up, but I have seen I forget the name of the studio. There is a studio with like some I think it's ex Bethesda or ex Obsidian employees that are like doing their own thing. And so people are keeping an eye on that because it's like, oh, okay, like so some like people are actually just like leaving and doing their own thing, like this, like like Perkapile did, where it's like just kind of doing their own thing and it's working. So I think that's what we're gonna see more of. Like people just
we are 100% going to see more of that. Yeah, I think now is probably the easiest time ever to create a video game.
Yeah, just do your own thing.
Like the PC hardware we covered at the beginning. This AMD Ryzen 7 processor is less than $500.
Yeah.
You can essentially, if you're talented enough, because that's really what this comes down to, you can save up your money, buy a super powerful PC that can create a AAA level game. It takes you a lot more time because you don't have the manpower, but you can get the software, you can get the tools, and you can acquire skills to make that happen. I mean, we covered 2 or 3 different people in this week's article or this week's episode about them being a solo project that turned out to be very successful in their game. And their life has changed forever. When you see that a handful of times, it's like if you're working underneath Activision Blizzard and they're going into complete chaos, or if you're working for any studio under Microsoft and Sony and they're shutting down studios around you, that question has to come up in your head, right? Like pop up in your head. It's like, why don't I just move back home to like wherever I'm from, the Midwest or whatever, and I'm out of Silicon Valley and all this kind of crap, and just live cheaply.
Get away from the distractions,
Yeah, get ready for the distractions, lock yourself in, and then just start designing. Why wouldn't you do that? If you're talented enough, you can outsource a lot of 3D modeling and a lot of coloring and artistry that comes with it. It just depends, I guess.
When your only bottleneck is time, anything is possible. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's a quote. Can I get you? Who wrote that? Did you write that? Did you come up with that on yourself?
Off the dome, dog.
Off the dome, dude. Man, I'm gonna have you handwrite that. Sign it with your name. I'm gonna blow it up and I'm gonna put it right there on the wall.
Just on the wall. That's the home quote.
The only bottleneck is time. Anything is possible.
Oh man,
my dog.
Just saying, dude. Off the dome, bro. Just I spit some wisdoms every now and again. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, how'd you put on that? Like, how'd you put on that shirt with that big brain right there? How did it fit? Like, just like help.
It's a button up for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
That's
too big to put over it. It's true though, man. It's only message to anyone out there trying to do something creative. It's like, hey, if you like equipment, affordable now, probably have your own stuff.
Yeah.
The only constraint is time. So. Why not?
That's really what it comes down to. You got to make sacrifices. That's the only thing. That's the hardest thing I think people have is making the sacrifice.
Comes back to time, dude. Like you're just
when you take the time,
sacrifice it.
Yeah, you got to sacrifice your social life. You might have to sacrifice sleep. You probably got to be eating when you're working. I've done that. I've done the whole like 4 hours of sleep a night for like 8+ days. 9+ days. I think that's the longest I ever did.
Jeez.
And then by the last day when I got all my work done, I would sleep for like 16 hours straight.
Yeah.
Like I'd go to
Yeah.
bed at 9 o'clock and you wouldn't see me till 5 o'clock the next day. It's just I was done, bro. It was so bad. Yeah, but that's just what happens. Like you got to make sacrifices, and I think it's possible now more than it probably ever has been to create a quality good game as a solo person. I think this
Yeah.
is. I think there's optimism to be had.
For
What
sure.
I'm getting at.
For sure. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, and AI can assist you in a lot of things as well.
Very true.
Yeah, but I think that's all we really have for this week, don't you? We kind of went over the
Yeah.
time period. Your boy's hungry. It's
Facts.
dinner time. The Canes are playing. I don't know if you knew that.
I just saw a note.
Canes are playing.
Dude,
Dude, they've been bopping. So it's looking good. And I think we'll just let the people go. I am going to be trying to stream more often. I'm going to try to do more multi-streaming. Are you going to be doing anything like that, Kyle? It's been a while since I've seen a stream from you, dude. You said you've been gaming.
Yeah.
You might as well. Here's the mindset that I've been having. I'm going to try to convince you to get on. If you're gaming anyway, just hit live. You don't need the camera. Keep the chat over in the corner and just vibe. Play the game you want to play.
But
People are in there to chat. You chat with them. If not, whatever.
Not saying it would be unpeaceful, but I kind of want to protect my peace every now and again. You know what I'm saying? Play a little game,
Yeah.
go a little solo. Right. So I don't know.
I feel that.
Maybe one day the mood will kick back in. I don't know. For right now, dude, I'm just like,
get out
gaming,
of my way.
dude.
I'm playing Silent Hill.
Get out of my single player way, baby. I don't know. We'll see, dude. Excited for Indiana. Oh, excuse me. Excited for Indiana Jones though. Just got like a month.
Yeah, it is. It's not far away. That is your game to a T. So I'm excited to hear from that.
Enjoy it. So dude.
All right, dog. Let's let the people go. Let's let them relax, have a good time. You and I actually have to figure out when to schedule to do the next podcast because I will be leaving the Friday of next week to go to Vegas for the LAN.
I see.
That's a shout out. Keep an eye out. It's going to be streamed on the Puckett and LVT Halo. So,
that's good.
Yeah. Anyways, cutting to the chase. The usual closing segment part of the show is where I tell you everything you need is in the description below. We have timestamps. We have tiny URL links. Anything you could possibly need to see what we've actually covered. We also have some social media links if you want to check those out with Discord. Probably need to get more active. I feel like we always say that. It's mostly a place now where the bot dumps as much content as we can fit into the server, and it actually helps a lot. So if you want a news feed, we do have an RSS feed custom made for all these similar articles. Just you can configure it on your apps and stuff. And yeah, without further ado, I'm Michael Anthony, KyleHeath, my co-host, my host right here, my boy. Thank you for joining us. This has been the M2 Podcast, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out.
Peace out. Happy belated Halloween.